welcome to my very first game log. It's a little game project that I'm building from scratch in React. It uses Vite for the front end tooling and then Mantine for the as the UI component library. So without much ado, let's get started. So the very first thing I'll talk about in this on this update. The project started about 2 weeks ago, but we've made quite a lot of progress so far. Right, so in this updates, we've abstracted the game state into a React hook. The reasoning for doing this is the hook object can be passed around between the different objects of the game, such that they can either get information about the game or manipulate the game state in some way which will reflect in the rendering, right? So in this file we are looking at the game the use game hook. So this exports an object which has this interface, so other game objects essentially can get information and then they can also manipulate it in some state, right? So having this in TypeScript helps immensely because of the ability to declare the interfaces and then the types that the game uses. So immensely good. So the game world itself is a React component. So I just export this, where I use React router to implement the routing. So this is the game hook that we spoke about earlier. So this game object is what is passed into all the other components, including the renderer and also the terminal. Okay, so the renderer has also been modified to take in the game states. The way this was designed was that the game loop runs within this renderer component. So here we are using window.request animation frame to perform the rendering. So this gives us a very smooth 60 FPS, which makes the game very nice to work with. The terminal interface essentially is where we can type in our commands, right? So this is how the game window looks like. Let me just start the server. We'll go to this address. Yeah. So we have this is the game interface essentially. So the renderer is what is rendering this left half, and then this side is the terminal component where we can enter commands. So the other thing that I wanted to share is this Dockable and Docker interfaces. Right now, this is pretty much a space exploration strategy kind of game. So let's say something like a planet, right? We want our units to be able to dock to a planet and be able to interface with it or interact with it. Same goes for an element like the crystal, right? So the dockable interface, it represents any object that can be docked to, and a docker represents something that can dock to another object. So as an example, we have our miner class. So you can see it implements the Docker interface, which means it can dock to something. And then our planet implements our Docker interface. Right. So these are just some of the things in terms of the code. One thing I also want to mention is that we finally gotten a comprehensive testing suite using Jest and React's testing library. So we have about 20 tests that ensure the functionality of everything, and I must say I'm not really one that does test-driven development, but in this particular one it has come in very handy. So essentially all the tests are written for the features in the project document, and then every time I commit I'm confident that everything is working properly. So let's see how this translates into our game. So we start out with our planets and our crystals, like so. So the primary mode of entry is commands using this terminal, which take effect in the world, right? So you can type in help to see a list of commands that are available for you. And then we will start with selecting something. So let's select this planet with the name Eris. Right, so we have this lovely indicator over there. So this is being handled by the animation class. It wasn't actually hard to perform animations from scratch. It was actually surprisingly easy. So we can select pretty much anything in our game world, right? So select C0. And then we also have a very nice feedback system. So let's say I input a wrong command. Oh, sorry, I've not implemented that side yet. Let's say I wanted to build something. Okay, so we'll check. That seems to be a bug that I'll have to check out. But essentially, anything in this game world can be selected. So I'll select Artemi, the planet. Good. So now that we've done this, we can begin building our units, right? So if a planet is selected, I can build units on that particular planet. So currently we only have our minus. So let's start by building the minus. So we have M0. And we'll build another one. Okay. So now you can see how the objects are, or the miners are being positioned. So that is the Docker ball doing its thing. Anytime a new unit docks to it, it recalculates everyone's positions and updates them in the game mode, right? So if I continue building a miner class, another one, you can see how it kind of arranges them. So that's the docking positions algorithm that I put over there. Right. So we have 5 miners now, right? Let us select let's say M0. Right. And then I can now give commands to M0. So I would say M0 should mine C3, and then off it goes. So as M0 undocked itself, we can see that the rest of the miners have their positions recalculated again. So I'll select M1 also, and I will tell it to mine C0. Now the actual mining feature has not been done yet. That will happen before the next devlog. But as we can see, we have movement, or the update class of the miner, which is working as intended. So it actually uses a finite state machine to to model its behavior. So that a simplified version is what we have over here, right? So we have it's in idle mode. When it receives the mine command, it checks whether it is docked or it is not docked. If it is docked, it will start mining. If not, it keeps moving to the crystal until it docks and starts mining. So that's the finite state machine, or a simplified version of it that was implemented within the miners update function. Right, so as we can see, when a miner gets to its class, so let's say M0 has gotten to C3, it automatically docks over there. So the same can be said for M1, which is reaching C0 and then automatically docks over there. So that's the current project or progress in this devlog, and I hope to be able to continue to build this. This is a bit of a long-term project, but I feel it can make for a very interesting gameplay as more features are added. Okay, so until next time, peace.